NATO's cooperation with Russia on counter-trafficking efforts. Human trafficking is a serious problem worldwide, and NATO is committed to addressing this issue in partnership with countries that are willing to work together. One such country is Russia, which has been an active partner with NATO in counter-trafficking efforts. NATO's cooperation with Russia on counter-trafficking efforts began in 2005, with the signing of a Memorandum of Understanding (MOU) between NATO and the Russian Federation. The MOU was designed to promote cooperation and coordination between the two organizations to combat the trafficking of human beings. Since then, NATO and Russia have worked together in a number of ways to combat human trafficking. One of the most important ways in which they work together is through information sharing. NATO and Russia share intelligence on human trafficking, which allows them to identify trafficking networks and target them for investigation and disruption. Another area in which NATO and Russia collaborate in counter-trafficking efforts is through training and capacity building. NATO and Russia have organized joint training events for law enforcement officials, border guards, and other relevant personnel, to enhance their knowledge and skills in identifying and combating trafficking. One example of a joint training event was a NATO-Russia workshop on combating trafficking in human beings, which was held in Moscow in 2019. The workshop brought together law enforcement officials, experts, and civil society organizations from NATO and Russia to discuss the latest trends in trafficking and to share best practices in prevention, protection, and prosecution. Moreover, NATO and Russia also participate in joint operations to combat trafficking. One such operation was Operation Vigilant Guardian, which was conducted in 2016. NATO and Russian law enforcement officials worked together to target trafficking networks operating along the Russia-Europe trafficking route. While cooperation between NATO and Russia on counter-trafficking efforts has been productive, there have been some challenges. One of the most significant challenges has been political tensions between NATO and Russia in recent years, which have hindered cooperation on a number of fronts. Furthermore, the ongoing conflict in Ukraine has also affected cooperation between NATO and Russia on counter-trafficking efforts. The conflict has led to a breakdown in communication between the two sides, which has made it more difficult to share information and coordinate efforts. Despite these challenges, however, NATO and Russia remain committed to addressing the problem of human trafficking. They recognize that trafficking is a serious threat to human security, and that it requires a coordinated and comprehensive response. To that end, NATO and Russia continue to explore new ways to cooperate on counter-trafficking efforts. They have established working groups to identify areas for further cooperation, and they have pledged to continue raising awareness about trafficking and to work together to prevent it. In conclusion, NATO's cooperation with Russia on counter-trafficking efforts is an important example of international cooperation. Despite political tensions and other challenges, NATO and Russia have found ways to work together to combat the trafficking of human beings. Their collaboration has resulted in increased information sharing, enhanced training and capacity building, and joint operations to disrupt trafficking networks. Ultimately, their joint efforts are contributing to a safer and more secure world for all.